Hello everyone, welcome to Brain Blitz Audios. Today in this episode of NEET Preparation, we're going to be looking at previous year questions of biology and medical entrance examinations in India. Today we're dealing with the fourth chapter in the grade 12 syllabus for biology in CBSE, and the name of this chapter is Reproductive Health. This is a short chapter and we'll try to discuss as many questions as we can regarding this chapter. So this is the first question for this episode. You just need to identify the definition of gift, G-I-F-T. Is it A, B, C, or D? Let's look at each of our options, but before that, we should know what does gift stands for. The expansion of gift in reproductive health is Gamete, Intra, Fallopian, transfer. So now let's look at each of our options. First option says transfer of sperm in fallopian tube of a female with the help of injections. So here the male gamete is transferred into the fallopian tube with the help of injections. So since this is done with the help of injections, this is what we call ICSI, or intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So option A is incorrect because it's the definition for ICSI. If you look at option B, it says transfer of a zygote fertilized in vitro in the fallopian tube of female incapable to conceive. So here you see that a zygote is transferred and not a gamete. So option B is incorrect, and this definition is the correct one for ZIFT, which is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Now let's look at option D. Embryo is developed in vitro and then transferred into the female tract. So in vitro basically means that fertilization happened outside the body, which happens during in vitro fertilization or IVF treatments. So option D is the definition for IVF, so it's incorrect. The right answer is option C, transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into another female's fallopian tube who can produce an ovum but can provide a good environment for further development. This is the correct definition for GIFT, which is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Next question. What is the function of copper T? Well, the copper T is basically an IUD, which is intrauterine device. And the speciality about copper T, as the name suggests, is the fact that it is a copper releasing device. And when an IUD is copper releasing, it releases copper ions which help in the increase in phagocytosis. So when the sperms get into the uterus, what happens is that this IUD, it produces copper ions, and these copper ions increase phagocytosis in the uterus. This means they suppress sperm motility and fertilizing capacity. So basically, if the sperms are killed in the uterus, then there is no fertilization. So therefore, the right answer is option B, stops fertilization. Here, since the gamete gets affected before the onset of fertilization and zygote formation, option B, stops fertilization, is the most appropriate. Next question. Progestasert and LNG20 are A, implants, B, copper-releasing IUDs, C, non-medicated IUDs, D, hormone-releasing IUDs. If you look at option C, non-medicated IUDs, an example for this includes Lippes loop. Copper releasing IUD example is copper T. And when you look at implants, these are basically hormones which are primarily made up of estrogen and progesterone. They're synthetic forms of it, and they are implanted directly under the skin. So the right answer here is option D, hormone-releasing IUDs. Progestasert and LNG20 are examples of hormone-releasing intrauterine devices. So these are devices inserted by doctors and expert nurses, and then they are presently available as non-medicated, copper-releasing, and hormone-releasing. So this is an excerpt from the NCERT textbook for the chapter Reproductive Health. This is page number 60. And here you can see hormone-releasing IUDs. Examples given are Progestasert and LNG20. So that's why we can say that option D, hormone-releasing IUDs, is the correct answer. Let's look at this question. What is the figure given below showing in particular? This is our figure. So as you can see, this is a figure of the female reproductive system. You can see ovaries, you can see part of the uterus, and you can see the fallopian tube. But if you look at the fallopian tube, you can see that both tubes are cut and tied. So as you can see, the tube is cut and then it's tied. So when the fallopian tube gets cut and tied, then the procedure is called tubectomy. So option C, tubectomy, is the correct answer. Option D, vasectomy, happens in the male reproductive system. And since over here there is no abnormalities in the uterus or the ovary, ovarian cancer and uterine cancer are incorrect options. So the right option here is option C, tubectomy, and you can guess that by the tied and cut fallopian tubes shown here. Let's look at this question. Here we're asked to match column 1 with column 2. So column 1 says pill, condom, vasectomy, copper T. Column 2 says prevents sperms from reaching cervix, prevents implantation, prevents ovulation, semen contains no sperms. So over here, you need to find out which of the following options given is correct by matching it up. So when it comes to matching type questions, sometimes you only need to match one thing here in order to correctly guess your option. And in this question, that is possible. Now, if you look at option C, vasectomy, what is vasectomy? Vasectomy is the cutting and tying of the vas deferens in the male reproductive system. So that means it does not allow sperms to be released. And so therefore, since the glands come after the vas deferens, the semen that gets released contains no sperms. So C4 is a correct match. And if C4 is a correct match, and if you look at our following options, you can see that option A is the only option which says that C of column 1 matches with 4 of column 2. So option A is the correct option. And if you look at the others, pill prevents ovulation, that's correct. B prevents sperms reaching the cervix, that is also correct. And copper T prevents implantation, which is also correct. Let's look at the final question of this episode. This is again a match type question. You have to match column 1 with column 2 and find out the correct option among these 4. So in this question, again, we can connect back to the first question of this episode. In the first question, we were asked to find out the definition of GIFT, gift. So GIFT is the transfer of ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube where the fertilization occurs. So D of column 1 matches with 2 of column 2. So therefore, based on our previous question, D2 is the correct matchup. And if you look at our given options, you can see that D2 occurs only in one of the 4 options, which is option D. So option D here is the correct option. Now let's look at the other parts of this option. First, A is connected to 3, so intracytoplasmic sperm injection, which is formation of embryo by directly injecting sperm into the ... so that is correct. If you look at the second one, that is IUI, intrauterine injection, so that is artificial introduction, so option 1 is correct for this one. If you look at IUT, that is option C, it matches up with 5, which is again correct, and ZIFT matches with 4, which is also correct. So the correct option here is option D, A3, B1, C5, D2, and E4. So these are the questions which are asked from this chapter. We hope you found this episode interesting. For more of our videos on NEET preparation, you can always click the link for the playlist in the description down below. For watching more of our useful and interesting content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, which is Brain Blitz Audios. So until the next webisode, take care, stay safe, bye-bye for now.